charged with drink driving. In a moment, it'll be time for Sports Day, but first, a look at what else is coming up this evening here on BBC News. With such a high turnover of staff, you'd think the White House was struggling to attract decent employees. We'll bring you the latest news of who's in and who's out. A BBC poll found that he was the second most popular Briton ever. Now, a new museum dedicated to Isambard Kingdom Brunel opens in the West Country. We'll pop along. And if you love blockbuster films with giant robots, stick around for the film review at 8:45. And even if you don't, please do. And we'll find out what Mark Como thinks of Pacific Rim Uprising. That's all ahead on BBC News. Now it's time for Sports Day.
Hello and welcome to Sports Day. I'm Hugh Wizencroft. Your main headlines this evening. We'll be live in Amsterdam as England's preparations for the World Cup in Russia continue with a friendly against the Orange of the Netherlands. Formula One is back as the cars reveal their early form ahead of the first race of the season in Melbourne. And at Sport Relief, there's a whole host of events taking place. We've also spoken to the double Winter Olympic champion Lizzie Yarnold. She'll be involved later on, and she's been telling us what her future in sport might hold.
It's always really hard to answer that question straight away. You know, my automatic response is, do you know what you're doing in 4 years' time?
Hello, good evening. There's plenty to come, but we have to start with the International Football Weekend and the first of what could be two very important friendlies for the England manager Gareth Southgate as he looks to cement his thinking ahead of this summer's World Cup. And with a number of new faces in his squad, could someone force their way into a surprise seat on the plane to Russia? We shall see. Our sports correspondent David Ornstein is in Amsterdam for us, where England will be taking on the Netherlands. And David, there's plenty for Southgate to ponder.
There is indeed a hell of a lot for Southgate to ponder. Just 3 months out from the World Cup, not even that now to go until the tournament in Russia. And if we look at those new faces that you mentioned in the team, Nick Pope, the goalkeeper from Burnley, James Tarkowski, the Burnley centre-half, also Alfie Mawson, the centre-half from Swansea, and Lewis Cook, the Bournemouth midfielder. So 4 new faces in this particular squad, which started at 27, which is very big. Of course, it'll be much smaller, the squad that goes to the World Cup. Now, there are 4 games between now and the World Cup. This one here tonight, Italy at Wembley on Tuesday, and then friendlies against Nigeria and Costa Rica at Wembley in June. So not long for Gareth Southgate to get his squad together. Plenty of fans have travelled over here to Amsterdam. There's expected to be around 5,000 inside the Johan Cruyff Arena, many of them in town today. There were 25 arrests overnight, but from what I saw, on the whole, it was good-natured, and they'll be travelling here now to this stadium to get behind England tonight. It will be a young, experimental team, and Gareth Southgate has said that ahead of the tournament in Russia, he is excited about the squad.
I'm pretty clear on, you know, the vast majority of the squad. And if we had to play tomorrow, I know the starting team I'd play. What we have got is more opportunity to work on things, chance to look at different tactical systems.
In Russia, so that's far from ideal. Jack Wilshere, also the Arsenal midfielder, had come back into the reckoning, but then has had to pull out of this particular fixture. They hope that he will be fit for Tuesday's game against Italy. There are also questions around the goalkeeping position, with 4 goalkeepers named in this squad, owing largely to a loss of form by Joe Hart at West Ham. The defence has question marks. John Stones was said to be a certainty at centre-back, but he hasn't been playing for Manchester City. Jordan Henderson, tonight's captain, in and out of the team at Liverpool. Talking of Henderson, he was speaking to us about the security situation and in Russia, and if he goes to the World Cup, he wants his family to come too.
People will be deciding if they want the families to go. I know if I go, my family want to go and obviously be part of the World Cup. So I can only really speak for myself, but as a squad, we've spoke about the security aspect, and that seems all fine so far. Whether or not that changes further down the line, we'll have to wait and see.
Now, the most important news for you is the team news, so I can read it to you now. Jordan Pickford in goal, the Everton man, getting the nod, and will he keep that jersey for the World Cup? Kieran Trippier of Tottenham at right back, his club teammate Danny Rose at left back, Kyle Walker in the defence as well, John Stones of Manchester City, Joe Gomez of Liverpool, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain of Liverpool getting the nod in midfield, perhaps coming in to replace Jack Wilshere, Jordan Henderson alongside him, captaining the side tonight, with a front line of Marcus Rashford, Jesse Lingard and Raheem Sterling. So that is your team news as England prepare for kick-off in over an hour's time. The atmosphere building very nicely here. England's penultimate game before they name their World Cup squad, and they're one of 4 friendlies before that tournament starts in Russia, with England's first match against Tunisia on Monday, June the 18th.
OK, David, pretty envious. Enjoy your Friday night in Amsterdam. There's live commentary of that match, by the way, on Radio 5 Live this evening. All the build-up with Darren Fletcher begins at 7 o'clock. Well, Scotland, they won't be at the World Cup this summer, but they are trying to build something new under Alex McLeish. He begins his second stint as the manager of the national team with a game against Costa Rica at Hampden Park. Our reporter Chris McLaughlin has sent this report.
It's the first Scotland match post-Gordon Strachan. Alex McLeish is indeed back 10 years after he left for Birmingham City. His job, his brief this time, is quite simple. Make Scotland better and qualify for Euro 2020. Now, tonight's game is the first of a friendly double-header. It's Costa Rica this evening, followed by Hungary in Budapest on Tuesday. In terms of this evening's game, is it all about performance or is it all about the win?
Performance level will be great, but, you know, I want to win. I want to win the game, and winning breeds confidence. And as I said, we're looking for, a consistent way to win.
Now, we're expecting a debut this evening for the Manchester United youngster Scott McTominay. Also expecting to start up front is Barnsley's Ollie McBurney. It's a new-look Scotland squad, it's a new-look manager, a new-look management team, all looking to bring back a new feel-good factor to this Scottish national side.
Well, the management team at Northern Ireland is exactly the same. Northern Ireland, of course, so unlucky to miss out on a place at the World Cup. Their boss, Michael O'Neill, actually turned down the chance to join Scotland as their new manager, and ahead of their game with South Korea at Windsor Park tomorrow, O'Neill says he's committed as ever.
To play against highly motivated opposition who are technically very good, it's going to be a big challenge for us, but that's the nature of it. This is all part of the learning curve for particularly some of the younger players that are coming in to the squad and potentially into the team. So we have 9 games between now and March that are of March 2019, and all of those games are vital in terms of the preparation and the growth of the team for the next campaign.
So that's the football. Formula One, though, is returning to action this weekend with the season opener in Melbourne. Lewis Hamilton out to defend his world title as Mercedes go for their 5th consecutive double drivers and constructors championship. But can anyone stop them? Our Formula One reporter Jenny Gow has been to the first 2 practice sessions.